Welcome to the Escape Room Experts Podcast, your source for tips, techniques, and strategies on how to approach escape rooms and how to use them for both fun and team building.
Hi there, I'm Sandy Keene.
And I'm Tony Duckett.
And we are the Escape Room Experts talking to you from Oceanside, California at the School of Hard Locks.
Welcome back. I think today we get to talk about one of our favorite topics.
Yeah, today we're going to go the whole corporate side, which is something that we enjoy so much. And we're going to talk to you about the difference between team bonding and team building.
Well, let's start with what is a team. Let's just kind of banter that back and forth.
Oh, you and I have no idea what that's all about.
Well, so old, decrepit athlete, and people think about a team being a bunch of people working for a common goal, but there's a lot of things that are underlying that, like trust and a mutual understanding of what excellence looks like. And those kind of things are all part of team.
The other thing that I think people don't focus on enough when they're putting together a team or when they think about the definition is that a team has to be people with different skill sets. Mm-hmm. Because if I were to clone myself and have 10 of me, I'd get a lot done, but there's a lot of things I wouldn't be able to do because we'd all have the same skills. And
that kind of wraps right into that pursuit of excellence. So we're all doing different things, but we all agree what excellent looks like.
Yep.
And that's what we're pursuing. And then we go back to my first word, which was trust. So I have to trust that you and and what you're doing, you're going to do that really well.
Yeah.
Because if I have to do it too, then it's not really a team.
Yeah, I think we're going to spend a lot of time in future podcasts talking about this whole team thing. So what's team bonding?
Well, team bonding is essential. I'll give you an example. I had a soccer coach call me and say, I'm looking for something for my team to do. And I said, so what is the goal?
Yeah.
He said, I want it to be a team building exercise. So he and I got caught into this entire conversation about the difference between team bonding and team building. So team bonding is the connection that teams make, getting to know one another. And it's really important to teamwork. So that's when you go to dinner and you wind up talking to each other. It's when you guys go bowling and you high five and everybody's being supportive. But it doesn't really team building is that interaction of multiple people working together for a common goal, again, as we discussed.
Right.
So you got to work together and you have to need each other to be successful, and that's the difference.
So we get so many people who contact us and they say, we want to do team building. And I love that because that's what we are.
Right.
But then they start saying the other things that they're looking at. So some of the things you mentioned, we're thinking about going bowling. We're thinking about going
K1 speed.
K1 speed. Yeah, we're going to go race cars. And the question that I always ask them, just like you do, not just what your goal is, but do you want something where your team has to do things together? Because bowling is fun and you get to talk to one another and the drinking always makes it entertaining. Mm-hmm. But you don't rely on each other. As a matter of fact, for a lot of those things, you're competing against each other.
Yes.
So if I'm going bowling, I want to beat you.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going racing, I want to beat you.
Yes.
That's not building a team. In my opinion, that's fun together. It's something you can talk about. But from a team perspective, it's almost pulling a team apart.
And what you really want is you want to be competitive and make each other better.
There you go.
So competition always brings the best out of people, but people forget that just competing against each other means I do whatever I have to do to win.
Yep.
So I'll step on your foot to beat you in a race. But if we're on one team, I want to push you so you become the best Sandy you can become, and I become the best Tony, and together we're a really great team.
Yeah, I think that's so important. So team bonding has its place.
Mm-hmm.
You want, especially when you have a young team of people who don't know each other that well, it's a great opportunity to get to know each other, to have time to talk and laugh and be social. But now let's talk more team building. Team building is when you have to work together for that common goal.
Yes. Okay. And what's really interesting about this whole team building concept is you get to an appreciation for what the rest of the team has to do.
Yep.
Right? Because sometimes we get locked into our own little worlds and I'm going to be excellent at what I do. But there's some codependencies here. There's some synergies that need to happen. My information comes from somewhere, and when I'm done with my project, it goes somewhere as well. So it doesn't start or stop with me.
Right.
And no one has ever been successful by themselves. So the reality is a team is everywhere around you. You just may not know how you fit into it. These kinds of rooms force you to realize that there's a person on the other side of the room trying to accomplish something that you can help them be successful at, and vice versa.
Yeah, what's so much fun about the escape room as a team building opportunity is people come in and it's a completely level playing field, because you walk into an escape room and you've never seen it before. You have no idea what the puzzles are. You have no idea what your challenges are. And that's like taking on a new project at work, right? If it's something completely new, you have no idea what's going to happen. So what you see in an escape room from a team building perspective is you start to see, you go, oh, I had no idea Tony was good at something like that. Ooh, how can I use that at work?
And that's kind of the tip of the iceberg of something we'll talk about later on, is written, not on this podcast, but in a future one, is leadership.
Yep.
When the team starts to really get together, everyone gets an opportunity to show their wares, if you would. So when you're doing that, you take a leadership position.
Yep.
So we always ask people in our debriefs, who was the leader in the room? And then it gets kind of quiet. And they may default to the person who's the highest level person in the room, but they may not have been the leader. And the truth is, leadership is a fleeting characteristic. It moves around.
Yeah, absolutely.
And depending on what your strength is, if I'm the math geek at that moment, I'm leading that part of it. Right? And so leadership and team building and all, when you start getting into a team, people's inner workings start to come out, and you start to find out where your leaders and your followers and your executors are at the same time.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that we find in a debrief, when we spend time talking to people about what did you notice about yourself and what did you notice about other people, are when they make discoveries like that.
Yes.
You know, it never would have occurred to me to put those two people together working on that, and yet they were able to get us through that really hard lock that we couldn't figure out. Or that person who was, I know this is one of your favorite things to talk about, the person who walks around and goes, I think this might be this, and I think that might be that, but nobody listens to them because they have a soft voice. And all of a sudden the people in the room go, oh my gosh, Sandy knew all of those answers. We had no idea we should be listening more closely to Sandy.
And then when they get back to work, maybe they listen to Sandy more often.
Absolutely. Yeah. So with team building at an escape room, not every place that you go for team building, but at an escape room, you really can start to learn things about each other. So it's not just pulling people together so that they are working towards that common goal, but it's also a great opportunity for discovery.
So when I talk to people who are corporate leaders, when they come into the room, I always tell them, I want you to know a couple of things. That there are people, just because you are the most charismatic or the loudest voice in the room, doesn't mean that you're the one that we should be listening to. You hired these people because they're smart. Let them be smart. But it is also incumbent on the individual to step forward and say, I know something. It's not okay to be part of a team and have an answer and not tell us.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a bi-directional pull, and you can tell people who are, just because you're quiet doesn't mean you can't get that message out there. Whisper to someone who has a loud mouth and have them scream it out. Right?
And the cool thing about this for team building, when you have a really established team, because with a really established team, people know each other. You know, you have lots of organizations where people have been working together for 10, 12, 15, 20 years, and they feel like they know everything there is to know about each other. But that can actually be an advantage in the room. So one of my favorite stories is we had one guy, and he was a sales manager for a retail company. Mm-hmm. And there was a puzzle that he was working on, and it had to do with math. And he did the math, and he got it wrong. And we played something that let them know that he got it wrong. And he said, I did that, I know I got it right. And everybody in the room was like, well, if he says he got it right, I trust him, I'm gonna let him be. And he did it again, and he said, no, I got it right. And we played something that said he didn't get it right. And because they knew him so well, mm-hmm. they were willing to trust him. But because he knew his team so well, after a couple of times, he was like, okay, somebody else take this, because obviously I don't have it right. Well, that's all part of team building. It's somebody being willing to accept the trust of their team, but also being willing to say, I must be wrong, mm-hmm. and let their team take over for them and come through. And somebody else just picked it up and solved it. He was missing a key thing.
Which is really a big part of leadership. A good leader realizes that they don't do everything right. They don't have to be the definitive word. You let your team be great.
Yeah.
And if you've got smart people, if you're good enough to hire smart people, then you should be able to relax a little bit and let them be smart. I mean, it happens all the time. We get folks in the room who say, I must take control. But do you have to? If I'm a great chef and I make wonderful steaks and fantastic chicken and all kinds of other things, doesn't mean I can make good cookies. So when it comes to baking, maybe I turn that over to someone else, or make sure that somebody's standing right beside me on my team that can help me with my desserts. And that's what team is all about. And in these rooms, it becomes something that is pushed right in front of you and you suddenly see it. So in our debriefs, we talk to people like, and they go, well, I felt like I was all over the place and I didn't know who to leverage. I go, but that never happens at work, huh?
All the time. So when you're looking for an opportunity to bring your team together, and by the way, we encourage that everybody look for opportunities to bring their team together outside of the work environment, regardless of what it is you're looking to do. The first thing you have to ask yourself is, what is my goal? If your goal is to get people to connect and know more about each other, then look for team bonding opportunities. Go to the cool bowling alley that just opened. Go axe throwing. Oh, maybe not axe throwing, but something like that. Go out for drinks. Do a happy hour. But if your goal is to bring your team together and have them see not just how they work together, but if they can improve how they work together, then team building is the way you want to go. And there really is no better way to do team building than an escape room.
This is a giant business problem that it requires multiple people to work on from multiple angles and then come back together and discover how they all come together. Where else can you find something like that? I've done an awful lot of team building, and this is the best example I've ever seen.
I mean, that's actually why we started this business. As consultants who were looking for opportunities, we actually decided to do this because we wanted to be able to bring people into an environment like this. The business part, and the fun part was an afterthought almost.
Yes.
But whether it's the School of Hard Knocks, whether it's any of the other escape rooms that are out there, it really is a great opportunity to see what your team can do together and how they can work for a goal that nobody knew what the goal was when they started.
Just remember afterwards, if you do it with us, then we can help you through it. And if you go to another one, just make sure you have this conversation with them. What did we learn about ourselves in that room, and does it have relevance to what we do in our office? How do we use that experience that we just had with fun to create a similar environment where we can work better in our office and do better? Because I want to see you guys be more effective at what you're doing, and then we'll worry about getting you doing those things faster with efficiency. This escape room focuses on effective communication and effective problem solving.
Yeah, absolutely. So team bonding or team building, figure out what your goal is, make your decision, and we'll talk to you some more about how you can use it for corporate stuff sometime down the line. But my name's Sandy Keene.
And I'm Tony Duckett.
And we are here at the School of Hard Knocks in Oceanside, California. Thanks for listening.
See you soon.